Okay, well, I feel like I'm at a disco.
Ah, I love that opening.
Me too. And that's actually a transition of another part that I usually use as I either enter or go out. But no, I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in this afternoon or whatever time of day. It's afternoon here. But I do want to give a little bit of fair warning, everybody. Please don't stop watching. Both Jan and I, for some reason, because we're both on the East Coast, we're experiencing some funky weather outside. So we have froze up a little bit. If we do, please continue to, hold up and be with us. But I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Jan from New York City saves money.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everybody.
Hey Jan, hey everyone. Um, so we were, you and I were just talking off camera earlier about stores once upon a time containing like a small little eatery type
Yes.
ensemble, which you don't even see that anymore. One of the main ones, and luckily I'm able to remember this, is the Woolworths.
I was shocked, Steve, that you remembered the Woolworths and the little corner
Oh
with the
yeah.
little dinette there. I have great memories of that, Steve. It's amazing that you remember that because you're, young, but
Yeah.
but you do remember that. And some of my fondest memories, Steve, is just simple stuff like going shopping, let's say with my mom, and maybe going into Woolworths and sitting down and saying, "Oh, mom, want a cup of coffee or something?" Like she'd get a coffee, and
Mhm.
or I would get a donut or a sandwich, or it was just like, and that was a brilliant marketing ploy on their end, Steve, without realizing it, because we're just sitting there chilling, relaxing, getting more energy back and raring to go back shopping. I used to love to shop at Woolworths.
Oh yeah, the prices were good too, and
Yes.
some of the prices of the meals and the beverages that they had, the coffee, if you
Yes.
wanted an iced tea or breakfast, whatever, the prices were actually very, very budget friendly. You
Yes.
um, yeah, but but the funny thing is, there's a lot of different places that started out within another store that before they branched out, on their own. For example, I was just mentioning this to you not too long ago, earlier. Um, when Kmart was around, not the Kmart part where you go and eat, not what Kmart was, but this was probably later in. The pizza company Little Caesars actually began inside of a Kmart before they went independent and branched out on their own. So back then, if you wanted Little Caesars pizza, you had to go inside the Kmart and go over to that section
Wow.
and get your pizza. Yeah. So, but it is amazing though when you think back to all these different places. You know,
Amazing it is. Steve, did you ever hear of a thing called an automat?
Automat.
Yes, back in the
Um,
olden days. Now, there was only one left in New York, and I was a little girl, and my aunt insisted to take me there so I could see it. An automat, for some older folks that might be viewing, was a place with all these like little doors where food was aligned inside of it, and you put your money in this thing. And let's say you wanted apple pie. You see apple pie displayed inside of a window with a door and you put the money in it, you didn't have to go to a waitress or anything. You just pay for your pie and just take the dish out and sit down and eat it.
oh
Automat.
yeah. You just had to draw out the picture. Yes, yes, yes. It was a machine and it had right and you put your and then when it validated you slid and you pulled your I do remember those. Luckily, I remember that probably latter 70s, 80s. I remember seeing that.
Yep.
Um, it used to be that way with a lot of your drinks too, a lot of your beverages.
They should come back with that. It makes a ton of sense.
Remember
I
the big
mean,
remember the big
yes,
machines that used to do coffee? You would go to the machine, put the money in, you would
yes,
choose black, sugar, cream, and the cup would drop down and make it all for you. And then all you
yes.
do was just reach down and grab it and pull it. I remember that. Yeah, yeah. Automat. So that I never knew there was an actual title to that. Okay.
Yeah, it was really like prevalent from what I understand from like history, like in the I think the 30s, 40s, and probably the 50s is my
50s.
guess. So there was only like one left in Manhattan in like around 20 something street or whatever. My aunt said, "You never saw an automat and I'm gonna take you to one." So I said, "Okay." It was a little kid. So I walked into this place and all I saw were like doors and windows and food and
Yeah, yeah.
shelves and she said, "Watch what I'm going to do." This really tickled my aunt. So she would put the money in, the door would open, and she'd get the food. People were sitting down. You didn't need a waiter or a waitress. Everything was automated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Was cool.
Gosh. Well, I'm glad to know the title of it, but I do remember it. But oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that in probably almost 40 year. I think the early middle 80s is probably the last one I saw.
Amazing.
But that gives you an idea, in my recollection of thinking back. But yeah, okay. Well,
Steve, I heard the most weirdest thing. Now I mentioned, and by the way, thank you again for that peanut butter and jelly stir-in idea.
oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was really, really cool. And I do use it. And I mentioned it on video the other day, but I want to tell you a little story. There was a restaurant, I don't know if it was here in New York or somewhere else, and they were pitching their business on that show where they go to sharks and pitch businesses.
Yeah.
So this company wanted to open up a bunch of restaurants where basically it's peanut butter and jelly, but the whole place was peanut butter and jelly. I'm like, okay, so making a lot of money, but just different versions of peanut butter, I'm like, and yet I don't know if it was on that show or some other show, but really there are people that are willing to pay $7 or $8, maybe more, for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Are you kidding me? This is where I get into the "are you kidding me" mood.
Um. Well, okay. That's kind of on the steep side because, I mean, you can go to the store. I like a good quality. I like a good quality wheat bread. I can pick up a decent loaf of wheat bread for about $1.80, maybe $2 a loaf. A jar of peanut butter, I could probably doesn't have to be a big jar. I could pick up a medium sized jar for about I don't know 3 and some change, maybe 4.
Right.
A decent quality. Well, I prefer either jam,
Yeah.
marmalade, or preserves because I like a little bit of texture.
And that does give the variety aspect. So,
Right.
like pointing that out is true. So they probably had different breads, different jams or whatever. And that, but the basic idea that was a pretty smart business model.
Yeah, yeah, but $8 for a. But the
Could be
thing of
even
it
10.
is, but the crazy thing of it is, you actually have people crazy enough. As much as I hate to say it, you
Yes.
actually got people crazy enough out there that'll pay that kind of money.
I guess they're wondering. I think there might have been. I don't know if it was that place or somewhere else where somebody made a grilled version of a PB and J. I remember a few years back, Steve, you and I were talking about the people willing to pay a ton of money for grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I
remember that?
remember that story. I thought that was people. I thought people needed a reality check to do that.
And it turned out that that business model turned out to be extremely successful and spread across the country. That I say to myself, I mean, okay, maybe as a one-time thing, curiosity, but I wouldn't go often somewhere to pay a lot of money for PBJ outside or grilled cheese outside. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I guess that's the frugality in me.
Well, no, it's actually the more conservative side if you think about it.
Yeah.
Again, come back to the bread, a couple of dollars. You can buy. I can go to a wholesale club and get 2 pounds of cheese for about $8.
Right.
So that right there, 8, 10. I have an air fryer.
Yes.
The thing of it is, look at how many more sandwiches I can create with that,
Yes.
in comparison to going and getting a one-shot deal. Okay, tomato soup. All right, you can get tomato soup pretty easy at the store. That's not
Heck
hard.
yeah. No.
By the way, I do like a good tomato soup and grilled cheese from time to time. If not that,
Me too. Oh,
that is like the perfect, well, from being a kid, yes, but it's also a very good comfort food.
it's a good comfort food. And believe it or not, even it could be had any time of the year because it takes so quickly to make.
Yeah.
And remember the pita thing that I had the other day, the pita chips with the
Oh,
stuffed
yeah.
American cheese. Those chips come out crunchy. The cheese is hot and molten like on the inside, and it's very little calories because the pita bread is 160. I don't remember the calorie count on the cheese. It's like probably 70 or 80. If you
Yeah.
use one, it's very little because you're not using fat. The spray on top has 0 calories. You cut it like I said in the four, put it inside of your air fryer, 350 for 4 to 5 minutes. Yum.
Mm, okay. Yeah, because I like pita bread because pita, you get it, they're round, and then if you cut them in half. What I like to do, there's a restaurant that I have in local to me. There's a few that I like their breakfast sandwiches that they make in a pita. Oh my gosh. Sausage, egg, and cheese is one of my favorites. I do like the bacon, egg, and cheese. Another good
So
one.
good.
Another good one is country ham, egg, and cheese. Oh, good
Mm.
night, Irene. I know that's a song, but still,
Do they heat up the pita bread itself? Do they toast
it
it or
is.
leave it?
It is. It's a
Oh,
little bit warm.
warm. Nice.
But
Oh,
I do like pita. In a lot of ways, your pita is better for you than the actual loaf of bread because one
yes.
slice of bread alone is 130 or 140.
It's so filling, Steve. And to me, it's very, very large. You get a lot on a pita bread, you know?
You do get a lot. Yeah, and if you don't want to use a whole pita because it gets about 7 inches around and you can just cut it and you can, personally, I think you get more bang for your buck out of a pita. And then if you do your trick with it, with the cutting it into fours and then making chips out of it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, I can't even say it enough. And even if you don't want to put cheese in it, you just want pizza chips, do the same thing. Put it in, spray the top. It gives you that crunch. If you want flavor, you could add garlic powder or anything you like on the top like that. Season it up. Toss it in 5 minutes, 350 air fryer. Crunch, 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 and it's warm and it's so good. It's much better than greasy food.
Yeah, it just so happens Mr. Steve over here needs to go to the grocery store. In fact, I'm going to save that, here in about a day or so.
Yeah, I'm going to pick some of that up next week too. I really like my pita bread.
I'm going to pick up that. Another one that I do like, it's like a pita, but it's smaller.
Yes.
I haven't bought it in a while. It's called Sandwich Thins.
I
Sandwich.
think I've had that a while back.
They're
Yes.
smaller. They're about 4 inches around. They're
Yeah.
real thin. It's really the same people, the companies that make bread. But if you're trying to watch your carb intake, your calories, you like bread, but you don't want the bulkness of two regular pieces of bread, you can go that route. And let me tell you, I've done peanut butter and jelly with those. I've done If you want to know what else is good, coming back to pita, I did it before, not recently, but you can do peanut butter and jelly in a pita bread.
I have done that. I said people are going to think you're crazy, Jen, but I don't care. It's quite good.
I'm not the biggest I'm not the biggest fan of okay, I'm not the biggest fan of jelly, only because there's not really anything there. It's flavored, it's jiggly water. No, I've always been partial to the jams, the preserves, and the marmalade, only because when I eat peanut butter and jelly, I like a little bit of fruit. I like a little bit of texture.
And you want more texture. You're not interested in just, yeah.
Right. Now, if I'm out in a restaurant and I'm eating breakfast, say at like a Denny's or an IHOP or something along those lines, and all you have is jelly, but I want to put something on my bread. Yeah, all right, fine, I'll go along with that. But usually, when I go to a restaurant like Cracker Barrel, which is pretty good, they're known for using a jelly or a spread called Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's
Yeah,
really good stuff.
and
Yeah.
that's really one of the better ones. I do know that if you ever wanted to buy it, I know this place that starts with an A that ends with the N. It's 6 letters long. It's very, very popular.
Yeah.
Um, they do deliver. Their
Yes.
slogan is slogan is like a happy face with an arrow in it. You know where
Yes.
I'm going with this. Well,
We
anyway,
love to see those happy face deliveries. Yes.
right, but they carry the nuts. That's not junk when you
No,
go.
no, no. That's good quality stuff. In a way, you really, in this case, you're really getting what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I remember I got this little bag of little raspberry cookies. And in the middle it had fruit. And you looked at the bag, it said Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure what it's called. It's a round cookie with fruit in the center.
Like raspberry fruit.
Yeah, the cookie itself has got a name for it, but
I think I know the cookie because my mom was very particular with her cookies, and I think she used to eat those.
yeah, but it's been years since I had it. But the cookie itself has got a name. I just can't remember exactly what it's. But it's made there. But it's usually made with fruit in the middle, like a shortbread cookie with fruit in
Yeah,
the center.
the good stuff.
So yeah, but you know what? This has been a pretty interesting conversation. Mostly, what we've been doing is we've been reminiscing, about olden times of things that we no longer see. But you said it's a possibility that there may be a comeback.
I
Things may
no
be.
no. I really put it this way. I hope so.
Oh
I
yeah,
have a wish. It's like I hope certain things come back because, as they used to say, what's old is new. Steve, you and I, we kind of have one leg back in the olden times, reminiscing, but we also love our technology too. We wouldn't have this
you're right.
show if it wasn't for technology, right? So yeah.
No, true. Yeah,
But it is nice to every once in a while fondly look back at things that are remembered. Like when you told that joke on your video about the payphone itself is something to look back at. That you can't
yeah.
find a payphone anymore.
Well, actually, no,
There
not
was only
really.
one left in New York City, and they took it. I think they took the last one away. It was in Midtown, and I believe they removed it a few months ago. There was only one left here anyway.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've seen a payphone, but in one of the areas of Jacksonville that I used to live a few years back, there was a Walmart out right near there. And you had your soda machines, but right up against the wall and the soda machine, I said, "What is that?" And I looked, I said, "Oh, it's a payphone. Did you know I happened to slip in there? I picked it up. It had a dial tone."
Oh my word!
Yeah, so I guess if you had the money, whatever the cost was, you might have still been able to make a phone call. Possibly, I don't know. But you
Right.
are right. They're not around anymore. I didn't mind a payphone. Don't heaven forbid. No, it has to do with generation. But all of our generations, all they know is, the cell phone route. But you know,
Steve, I'm so older that I remember not only a payphone, but a telephone booth that actually had a seat and it had the phone book in there if you wanted to look up
yeah,
a number.
right. Me too. I remember that too. And
You
to go
remember that.
to
I
go another step further, not when you go and pick up the phone, you didn't have this to dial. You had to
rotary.
I didn't mind the rotary if you could get through the first time. But if you're calling and it's busy, you have to hang up and then go back through it again, you know, and
Yes.
that ate up a brought up to my attention that I forgot about is in the center of where you dial, the
Yes.
phone number was posted right in the center.
It was posted, and I think what might have happened to you, okay, maybe you did memorize that phone booth already, but maybe do you remember looking at that number on the dial when you were calling that number that time?
No, what it was is, my parents used to do the flea market. I would go, you know, on quite a few occasions. I went, I would say out of a month, I would go like twice, two times, two different weekends, and then I wouldn't go. But what happened is mom and dad, if one of them tried to reach me, they would go to that payphone and call me at that number. Well, at home, I
Oh.
had a caller ID. Well,
Oh.
I saw the number so much that it got etched in my head.
Wow.
I still know the number today, but I don't know if that number still applies
Oh
now.
my gosh.
But I don't know what made me pick up that phone. Got to call mom. Busy. Like I said, I did that a good 8 to 10 times. I stood there for about 10 minutes. I felt so ditzy right after I figured out, okay, yeah, Steve, you're making a phone call, but there's only one little itty bitty problem. You're calling the phone. You need to be calling. So when I picked it back up, got my change back, put it back in, dialed my home phone number, I got through, as I had mentioned in the video, and I told my mom about it. My mom, she just laughed
Of course.
because it is one of those
Yeah.
moments that you,
Listen, laughter is a wonderful thing. Thanks for having me on again, Steve.
oh, you're more than welcome, you know, and definitely be on the lookout. I've got another video I want to put up to share with you guys. It is a recipe. It's not really even a recipe though, because what you're doing is you're really combining ingredients together to create something. And I'll probably have that going up at some point. It may possibly air prior to this because this is all taped ahead of time, but it may go up prior to this airing of this video, or I'll have it go up maybe next Tuesday. I don't know just yet, but definitely be on the lookout for that particular. And it's pretty good. It's not even my recipe. It's from a very, very good friend of mine's mom who come up with it. And it's really good. I think you guys.
Very nice. Very nice.
And I figure with 4th of July coming up, it would fit right in. So,
Definitely.
all right. Okay. I want to thank all of you for tuning in this whatever time of day it is where you're at. And Jan and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.